Hello, everyone, and welcome to our very first HTML tutorial video. Most people see HTML as well, they don't call it a language. They say it's okay. They don't call it a programming language, just to say. There's that argument, and there's those guys. They just excited that I know HTML, so I know how to program. You know that. Well, I'm not gonna get into the discussion or the arguments about that. As for me, all I know is that this is just a language, and that's it. Whether we can regard it as a programming language or not, well, maybe we might have a session where we discuss about that, but when we get to the live stuff, because obviously I can't just do it now, because now this is just me talking to my camera, I have to say. But yeah, without any further ado, let's begin, right? So HTML is to say it's not that hard to learn. And it's quite fun learning HTML because you get to see the stuff that you are actually coding or that you're actually writing on your HTML document, right? So just a little bit of a brief definition of an HTML. What is an HTML? So basically, you know what HTML stands for, right? So this is a markup language that we used for creating a web page, right? Well, I'm not going to discuss what HTML stands for. I mean, you already know that by now. But this is just a language that we use to create websites, right, or web pages. And you can use HTML along with other languages. Like you need specific languages maybe for improving your website to make it look good. You can use CSS and JavaScript backend. You can. So we're gonna. So basically, for now, how we've been learning our programming languages, that we've been learning them separately. But we're gonna get to a point where now we have to combine all these, right, and start saying, okay, cool. So they keep saying that there's front end, there's back end. Fully being able to apply these concepts in terms of coding wise. So we're gonna get to a point where we get to say, oh, okay, cool, this is how I can use this language for backend, Python for backend, the server side. We will be able to go to all that. So for now, this is just learning the concepts. Then once we have grasped a concept and we have grasped a language, why grasp is not coming out, grasped a language. I sound like a Russian. I'm not a Russian, but once we have understood the language, right, we're gonna get to a part where like now it's time to apply the language and see what we can do with the skills that we have, and with each and every application you're gonna grow because you're gonna learn some of the few things apart from that. So basically the best way to improve yourself is through application via projects, right? It doesn't matter how bad or how much you don't know about the project or the things that you need for the project. You just have to understand the project, do a research. So as a developer, you have to conduct a research because if you are dealing with a client and you want to make sure that your client is satisfied with your work, you need to do a research so that you create, or if it's a website you're creating for maybe a business, make sure that that website is going to help that business in a way that people are going to be intrigued and they're going to enjoy using that website. Maybe if it's a tutoring website, then obviously it has to be in a way that people who are going to be using it are going to be enjoying, and they'll be having for instance, you can also create a website where there's also a part where they can do quizzes, right? This is going to be more of them practicing and seeing what they've learned, and quick references to videos. Maybe if that person or if that organization have a YouTube channel, and then they can just put the stuff there, right, and then make the videos easily accessible from the website. Because once you know the website, obviously you're gonna know where the videos are in the YouTube or on YouTube, as to say, not in the YouTube. But yeah, so let's just discuss a few things, right? So in HTML, right? So this is just a little bit of a graphical presentation of how our HTML document has, or what part of our document affects in terms of the website side, right? So you start off with the HTML document. This is just this white boundary that I have. It's just your HTML document, right? So this is the part where you're not gonna see on your site, um, but is the document that you have, right? Your document, right? And then this is the part that you are going to see. So this is where you have the content, right? So basically on your website, you see the content of that website, right? So this blue, is it blue? Okay, whatever that color is, because I tend to mess up when it comes to colors, but I'm sure that's blue, right? Yeah, you might have that specific um, name, navy blue, light blue, yeah. But yeah, that block that is blue of whatever category it is. So that's the content that you're gonna see, right? And then so yeah, that's just the content. Oh, not really content page, but the content section. I don't know why I said content page. And then you're gonna have the top part, right? The top part, this is breaking down the HTML code or the HTML syntax, right? So you have the title page, or you're gonna have so we also have other elements, the metadata of the page. We're gonna put them there, and also the links. Maybe if you wanna use a CSS sheet to just customize the page, make it look nicer. You can include that SSS document there as well, or script there. And then you have the body, right? And then in this body, that's where you have your subheadings or headings, and then you're gonna have your paragraphs, and so on and so on. So basically, this is just the whole thing, right? So understanding how or what part of the code affects what makes it easy. And then in this tutorial, what we're going to do when we get to the application side, we're going to start also with comments, right? So that you get to understand, because the thing, or what I always recommend, or what I always have advised people, is that make sure you understand your basics, right? Because if you are to build a website, or if someone was to approach you and then they want you to build a website, you don't want to be going to search, okay, cool, what does this part do, what does this part do, okay, cool, so if I want to put something there, this is where I must. You should be knowing that by the time you are actually offering services to build a website for someone else, right? So know your concepts, and as I've always say, how good you are will be determined by the effort that you put in. If you put in less effort, obviously you're not expecting to be a great programmer, right, or a great developer. But then if you put in effort, depending on how much, right? It also goes with how much effort you put in, right? If you put in too much effort, you're gonna be good, really, really, really good. But then if you just put in average, you're just gonna be an average person, and you're gonna be complaining. Why is it that others are understanding to an extreme extent and I don't? It's not so. Don't compare yourself with others. That's one thing that I can tell you, that don't compare yourself with others. You yourself, I am me. Because myself, I remember most people, they used to just talk about HTML. Okay, cool. They're like, yeah, it's an easy language to learn. But I look at the language like, okay, I didn't really understand what was happening there. I'm just seeing things I don't even know. Because like first time around, when you don't do something right, you get to be you get to be scared about something. But then when you get to do it, or when you get to finally get to just get yourself to the place, you get to understand the whole syntax. Basically, if you are not from the programming world and you're looking at the programming world, you get to see that it's intimidating, right? But then when you get closer, you see that now it's not really intimidating. But yeah, that's it for me. Let me not actually talk too much, because I tend to talk too much. But then mostly I'm saying this because a lot of people keep on asking me as to how much experience I have, because people think I have 10 years doing coding, but in reality, I started getting exposed to coding, like real coding, last year. Okay, I'll talk about my story some other time, but I don't really have that much experience when it comes to coding. It's just the style that I use. So basically, I believe that once you master one language, moving to a new language is simple. The only thing you just have to do is understand the syntax, right? Yeah, but of course the shift from if you started with maybe Python or Java and then you were moving to HTML, it's a little bit different because a lot of things change, right? A lot of things change and the syntax is just somewhere somehow, but it's not that bad. I will show you that it's not that bad. Cool. Let's just discuss a few things and then we're gonna go to the coding side. So an HTML document, right? That's our white boundary if you are recalling from that picture, right? So we're gonna use HTML5 for this one. So to declare that document as an HTML5, this is the syntax that you're gonna use. It's a less than sign, exclamation mark, and then you have doc type, and then you have HTML, right? And I just want to talk about last few things, which are the elements, but then of course this happens after we have opened our HTML document, right? Specifying that this is the start of our document and this is the end of our document, right? So the format is that you're going to have a tag name, and as I mentioned, if you remember, I think it was maroon, okay, whatever that color was, and the green color, right? There's a body and then there's a type of part, right? But then that part is part of the head, so it's the head, and then you have the body. You have your head and you have the body. I think that makes sense. So for now, we're going to be dealing with elements that you open them and close them. Some elements you don't close, but then they are not that complicated to understand. We'll get to that and you will see. So we just want to keep the first one as simple as possible so that we don't complicate things, right? Because we want to make sure that it's user friendly and it's not really user friendly, but it's beginner friendly. Yes, I don't know why I'm saying user friendly. I'm beginning to think about the software that I'm using or the software that I'm designing, and then I just want to make sure that people are able to use it with ease, right? It's easy for them to use the software regardless of how complicated whatever that is running on the background is, right? But yeah, that's basically it, and I hope you guys are ready. And yeah, I'm just gonna use my Vim. So in this case, you can even just fire up your text editor. This time around, you don't even have to install anything. As long as you have a browser with you, you should be fine. Cool. So as I mentioned, we're gonna start with the comments, right? So we're gonna define our HTML document, right? And what did I do? I just opened Vim without naming my let's quit. I don't want to write this file. So mkdir, and then I just want to do web. Okay, let me just call it web, cd web. There we go. Let me just also create another tab. So I'm gonna have a one where there's my code and then one where there's my execution. I have this, perfect. Let's zoom in. There we go. And then vim web.html. There we go. And then we're gonna have a first comment, right? The comment is just less than sign and then greater than sign, and then inside you're gonna have an exclamation mark. No, not exclamation mark. It's just gonna be hyphen space hyphen. Oh, I need an exclamation mark. I forgot. You need an exclamation mark, and then from there, define the HTML document, right? And then we're going to define that, right? From our slides, it's greater than and less than sign, exclamation mark, and then you're going to type doc type, right? It's a document type, and then this is an HTML, right? And then from there, we have to define our let me see this. Am I on the right track? Okay, cool. Just doubting myself. I don't know how I'm doubting myself. Cause yeah. Let's just first that define the HTML document. There we go. And then from there we're gonna open and close. So we're gonna specify the beginning and the end of our HTML document. By specifying the beginning and the end, this means that whatever that we want to put on our web page is gonna be inside the HTML document. So it's gonna be the inside the HTML page, right? So we're gonna have a tag name, you remember, right? But then let's first do this. Define the beginning and the end of the HTML of our HTML document. There we go. Cool. Oh, I forgot something. Oh, I have to go there. Just bear with me. Hyphen. There we go. So we're gonna start, right? We have HTML. That's the start, right? And then we're gonna have our end HTML. So it's just a slash and then HTML, right? And then inside there, we're gonna have so inside there, right? So basically, if you are recalling from that picture, right, the one with the white boundary, right, that's what we have. And then inside there, we're gonna have two sections, right? The heading section and the body section. So we need the head and the body, right? And then in this case, we're just gonna say this. This is the head. There we go. Head section, and then we're gonna have the body section. There we go. So let's start with the head, right? So basically the head one. So I'm sure you are wondering as to how we're gonna separate the head and the body. How are we gonna really specify that so that whatever that we put on a specific section is gonna go or will be related to the head section, and whatever that we have on our body is gonna be where it's related to the body, right? So there are name tags for that one. So far we have the HTML name tag that we have learned so far. This is the key element to HTML because this is defining our HTML page, right? So now we want the head section. So you're gonna use the head hashtag. The head name tag name. It gets confusing. Don't worry, we're gonna get to it. I also get confused at times. So yeah, it's a process, and also I also get to ask as to how do I manage to switch between all these languages with ease, because every week I'm releasing content for different languages, and how do I keep up in terms of switching, because now I have this language, I'm discussing something in this language, don't I mess up? At least for now I haven't messed up and put Java things there or C# things here so far. Cool. So same thing, greater than, less than sign, and then we're gonna have a head tag name, and then we're gonna have less than or greater than or less than sign, and then we're gonna have head. So whatever that we want in our head is gonna be there. In this case, let's just put in the title. So you're gonna use the tag name title, and then you're gonna have beginning. That's okay, that's the end, the title, right? Then let's just call these Morex the coda. That's the name of our page, right? And then we're gonna get to the part we discussed is to also defining the language of our page and all that. So this is just the basics. So once you get to small basics, when we start adding more items, it's gonna be easy for you to follow through, right? Hopefully it's gonna be the case. And also don't just watch the video and be like, yeah, I understand. No, also practice. Just open your. But then if you can't really practice at the same time, you can watch the video, and then once I'm done with everything, then you can go back to the application side, and then you start typing and coding what I'm coding, and with understanding. So you're breaking down whatever that I'm. Oh, this was gonna affect this was. So once you get that all in that head, small head, you should be fine because you don't want to be searching where to put this. Like no, when you are building your website, you should be knowing about those things. So the only thing you just have to know is the things you're not familiar with, because not always or it's not going to be possible for you to know everything every time. Nope. You have to research. That's why part of being a developer means being a good searcher, being able to search information, the information that you need, read up on that information, and then from there, once you get to understand that which you don't know, then you're just going to apply everything, right? Cool. We're done with the top, with the head. Now we're gonna come to the body, right? And it's just English. So this is the body, that's the tag name, and then from there we're gonna have the body, right? The body, and there we go. So what we wanna do then now, we just wanna have a bit of a topic. Let's just say that I want to have so we're gonna have a small heading. So this is going to be the first heading. So if you want the second heading that is indented, you're going to have h2, h3, and so on, right? But then we're going to talk about that as we move further, right? So this is h1, and then obviously you have to close the tag name. So far the elements that we're dealing with requires the tag name to be opened and to be closed. We're going to deal with other tag names which doesn't need to be closed, but then you'll see how they differ from the ones that I closed, right? So we're gonna get to that. We're just gonna go with this step by step. And then after that, let's just see. We just want to know about Rex the code, right? And then that's the title, and then we're gonna have a paragraph. This is just P. That's the tag name, and then we have P. There we go, right? This this is my Chubha channel where I share coding tutorials. There we go. And let's zoom out a bit. There we go. I hope you guys are able to see that. I don't want to make it more complicated or more confusing. So you have the topic, so you have the head, and then you have a little bit of words there. So let's see what this is gonna lead us to, right? So escape, save my document, and there we go. And then I'm just gonna open this with browse, and then it's my web application, right? So if you're not on Linux, you can use basically you can use you can just open the document, because you don't need to have anything installed in your PC to be able to create web pages. You just create the document as it is, declare it as a HTML document, and you open it with any browser that you have. In this case, I'm using Brave, so that's my default one. So I'm just using that. But you might have also noticed something that I use Terminal a lot. I love Terminal. I'm more of a Terminal guy. Cool. So you see what we have done, right? So if you remember the head part, right? So the head part has to do with the whole page, everything that you put there. So I only put the title. This is the title of my page, and then if I wanted this page to be in maybe vendor, since I'm a vendor guy, or if it's you want it to be in Zulu, you want it to be in Spanish, any language, You can specify that. I don't know if there's any language though, because I doubt they have vendor, but I don't know. It depends. It might be there, it might not be there. But in most cases, I'd say most of the languages are there. And then you can just have it there. And then this is about, and then this is the topic. So this is our H1, right? And then this is our this is my YouTube channel where I share coding tutorials, right? So this is the content that I have there, right? This is just you putting stuff on the document so far. But then we're gonna get to a part where we actually create a nice website that is friend that is a more end product. So for now, this one doesn't really is not really that much entertaining. We have a document. Okay, cool. I see this about, and then there's just some words, and that's it. And also, we'll also discuss how you can also import what's this fonts, different fonts. You can choose whatever font that you prefer and have it there on your page. We're gonna get to that. So let's go back to our document and we get to our code, right? So what happens if I do this? Here we go. Okay, I love learning in a curious way. Cool. So what if I say H2 and then I say H2, right? I close that and then I say Python. Yeah, let me just use that and then I save and then I open my page again. That's my second heading, right? That's where I have my heading. But we're gonna talk about more of this in the second tutorial. So just practice. Yeah, just practice just to get to this part because next tutorial we're gonna go a little bit deep and yeah, that's gonna be especially if you are new to coding. It's not really bad. HTML is way friendly compared to others because this is just the front end side, right? There's nothing much here. It's just but then it's very much important. Most people they see front end is something. They see front end is not that much important, but then it is, right? I mean, regardless of how good you have inside the container, right? So regardless of how good, yeah, let's just use the example of food, right? If you cook food and you present it in a poor manner, people might not want to eat your food because it's not really it's not really calling them, right? So your presentation is very much important and that's where we're going to also discuss the css and all that. And the way I like doing it, I don't love using css inside an html document. I love just creating a different css script on the side and then just load it in my html document. It's easier that way, but I will also show you how to also use it inside an HTML, but that's not the way that I love doing it because it's way too complicating. I just like with the JavaScript, you can choose to embed it inside an HTML, but I prefer having it separate. That way you get to know that this is just HTML related. This is just HTML syntax. This is just CSS syntax, and this is just JavaScript syntax. We're gonna get to that as we move further in the future tutorials. But yeah, I think let's stop here for this tutorial. I hope this was not that much. But if it was, just take it step by step and go through it and you should be fine. Keep the drive and call the patient and never give up. Never dare to give up, regardless of how hard it gets, regardless of how confusing it gets, regardless of how lost you get to be or you'll get to be as you're learning. It's a process. Programming is not easy. It takes time.